chairman of this dinner, but I can't believe that any dinner as splendid as this, in this lovely occasion, with all you super people, has anything less than a president. So we start with President, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the best thing I have to say is a very short message, because I have to say I bring you the best possible fraternal greetings from the HAC in London to you here in the United States. It's a good deal of a way to come here. And in the old days, if I was coming from the United Kingdom over to the United States, I might have had a message for some red-necked, rebellious colonials. But not these days. Not only is it a pleasure to be here as part, as Merrick has just reminded us, of a fraternity together with the United States, but actually around the table, all you people really have come from the United Kingdom and have been part of the HAC in London and part of the HAC here now in the United States. So it's part of the international fraternity of the HAC. Now I have to say that the message I have from London, it says much about the HAC that after 40 years that I've been here, and some of you go for a similar distance, and I'm absolutely delighted to see that there are a number here who've only been relatively recently members here, are prepared, are able, and do meet in outlandish places, can I describe it like that, Washington, outside of New York, as part of the HAC. And we heard from Patrick's messages, there are similar meetings going on in Canada and in Australia and in all the places around the world where you would expect. You can't go anywhere without meeting people of the HAC. It is a unique regiment. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit of what I believe is the continuation of that unique factor that's going on now, and will take it through into the future. To start with, I suppose the message from London is that not much has changed. Armory House is still there. The Suckling Room is still there.
Oh, thank God.
You have women in it these days. But it's still the Suckling Room, and who's to say it isn't better for having a few women around the place? But on the other hand, some things have changed. Back in the old days, if you heard about the pillars of the HAC, you might have thought they were the pillars of the establishment, but they were pretty boring. Nowadays, if you listen to the colonel commanding the active unit, the pillars of the HAC are training, operational deployment, and welfare. And I'll tell you, I just deliberately bring it like that because for just a few moments in this wonderful, relaxed occasion, I'm going to be a trifle serious. Because what is going on in the active unit of the HAC at the moment is serious. And it is part of an enormously important volunteer body of people serving with the HAC as part of the Territorial Army in England in a very difficult situation. They have served, as we know, in Kosovo and in Baghdad and now in Afghanistan. And I'm going to read you a quote from the commanding officer's report to the annual general meeting at Armory House of what our chaps are doing. Members of the HAC are now required to be proficient in an excess of 9 weapon systems, to be near paramedic standard in their ability to treat severe trauma, often under fire, to be able to communicate using complex radio systems, operate electronic countermeasure equipment, tune into the environment, and spot the ground signs that may be marking an improvised explosive device which, if not noticed, would quite likely kill or maim them or their colleagues. Engage with and win over a community and culture very different from our own in a foreign language. Drive an array of complex and technical vehicles over a difficult terrain by day and night. Remain switched on for protracted periods in adverse conditions and be expected to react to a situation outside of any training, conducted at an instant, in the correct manner. And all this to be fit enough to carry a load exceeding 50 pounds in severe climatic conditions. In addition to that, they need the mental agility and alertness to contribute to the control of more than 7 different fire systems, to be able to observe, analyse and report on the ground conditions with the Mark I eyeball, or, more commonly, with an array of complex surveillance equipments and cameras, make judgment calls on the application of fire, and in some cases control the airspace with a multitude of air systems operating at the same time. Now, the only thing of that explanation of what goes on at the moment, which, to be honest, and I suspect many of my colleagues at the same time will remember and recognise, is the Mark I eyeball. But that's where they are. And I can tell you that the HAC, with all this demand on them, and all this that they have to achieve, is thriving. They are, as the commanding officer commanding the land forces, English land forces in Afghanistan reports, pretty well the only territorial unit that serves outside the protective wire defences of the camps in Afghanistan, effectively on the front line. They are the people who are carrying the badge of the HAC to being known to wider and wider spheres within the regular army, not only in Afghanistan, but also in the command and staff headquarters of places like Baghdad and still in other areas of operations in Eastern Europe. They are, as the commanding officer says, setting the signposts for the way in which not only the HAC, but the TA is likely to operate in future. They do all this not just once, come back and have a parade, but they provide 1 officer and 8 men regularly to be there, constantly overlapping with each other, 6 months at a time. It's a huge demand, and they're doing it. And they're doing it in a way that makes us, and I can say this with absolute confidence, enormously proud. There are the chaps. In what I believe is an American expression, they are the chaps who are stepping up to the plate and delivering when it's needed. Now, there are a number of other things I could report about what's going on at the HAC. There's a big government review going on, what's going to be the future of the TA as it goes forward. And the Colonel Commandant has set up an HAC special committee to sit and work with them on that. I can tell those of you who want to hear about that more. There are other things. The fact that recruiting is developing to such a stage that 1 squadron is being revived. The future of the Bisley Hut, which is important, it's part of the past, but it's very important as a war memorial. I can tell you all about that if anyone would like to hear, and we can chat about it afterwards. But the important thing I wanted to bring across is that the current active unit, as I have said, have stepped up to the plate. They are the future, the current and the future of the regiment. They are the current and the future of an inevitable recognition by all of you members round here that wherever you go in the world, you will meet with the HAC and we will have a great dinner together and we'll have a great party because we know we've done the business. And with any more ado, I want you all, please, on your feet, to drink a toast to the HAC. Members of the HAC, regimental fire for the HAC. Ready, present! Zing!
Zing! Zing! Zing! Zing! Zing! Zing! Zing! Zing!
The HAC.
HAC.
Active unit.